What up, Hard Squad, and welcome to another Guess That Grade. Today, we are not only predicting the grade for that first edition Neo Genesis Lugia I pulled 2 weeks ago. Lugia! We're gonna get the results in the same video. I also have a banned Pokemon card and several other surprise cards that we are gonna not only predict the grades on today, we are going to get the results. If you are new to the series, the Guess That Grade series, and of course new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you do enjoy the Guess That Grade series that I do, please leave a like. Today, we are gonna grade that first edition Lugia. I'm very excited about it because it is one of the most difficult cards to grade. And when it comes to grading, there are 4 different categories that the various grading people use to actually give a grade out of 1 to 10 to your card. 1 would be the centering of the card. That would be how congruent for Pokemon cards specifically, the blue on the back of the cards are and the yellow on the front of the cards are, pairing, specifically for the specific set. Of course, there's also the surface of the card, if there's any scratches, if there's any factory lines, if there's any whitening on the surface, that is a big no-no. And then of course, there's the edges of the cards and the corners. If there's any whitening, scratches, marks, dings, anything bends, it's also a big no-no. So without further ado, let's get into the first card. That would be the banned Mistys Tears card. A card I've actually graded on a Guess That Grade a long time ago. However, I thought it would be very fun to grade this specific one. Now, this one and all the cards you will see, I actually pulled in various videos throughout the years on this channel, so that will be exciting. So taking a look at the back and the front, we'll take a look at centering first. That's how congruent the sides are to the rest of the card. And you can definitely tell this one is off center from right to left. So that's likely gonna get, I can see them giving it a 9 for the centering. Otherwise, we're gonna take a look at the surface. And while this is just a high level overview of myself going and looking through the card, looking at closer glance to see if there's any imprints, if there's any scratches, if there's any type of dings, that's what you really got to look forward to. So it's much easier to just guess in a video like this. However, that being said, I still think that this card for my prediction of Mistys Tears, because if you take a look, yes, this is the iconic vintage Japanese background where the quality of these cards was better than the English counterparts. I don't see any whitening on the corners or the edges of this card. So, let's just go ahead and give that a 9.5 for those. So likely 9.5 for all the subcategories and then a 9 for the centering. Surprise me, give me a 9.5 for the centering, but I doubt it. So that still gets it a 9.5 overall, which is my prediction for Mistys Tears. A pretty cool card. It was banned. Obviously, you can probably tell why, because Misty is actually not wearing anything in this card, but it's still a very, very cool looking card. Next up, it's time to go to the light side with a first edition Neo Destiny Light Dragonite. I did pull this card a couple months ago, actually, from a first edition Neo Destiny pack. And of course, the first edition symbol gives it away, and there's the Neo Destiny symbol. This is a holographic of Light Dragonite, a light type of Pokemon that the only type of set that this was given was in Neo Destiny. Taking a look at this card, centering is actually fantastic. So I would still give the centering a 9.5. It's very difficult to get 10s, and we will be going with Beckett, as I mentioned before. Surface-wise, there's not much room for factory lines. Neo sets were notorious for factory lines as such. It's basically just, usually they're horizontal, sometimes vertically, but mostly horizontal. I don't see any on here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the corners, and obviously there is whitening right there. It's just straight pulled from the pack. What can you do? There is nothing there. However, I do want to note, maybe right there the way the card's the cut just from factory, sometimes it's not a perfect circle, so they could ding that. There's whitening right there. And then there's no whitening on this corner, maybe a little edge wear right there, but that may be able to come off whitening. And so overall, you can also take a look at the surface. There's dust in there, like that's just dust. And so for this one, I don't think they're going to give it a 9.5. I think they're going to give this one a BGS 9, which is my prediction for a first edition Light Dragonite from Neo Destiny. So very nice card with that. Next up is actually a mid-range old card. That would be a full art Reshiram from the black and white set in 2011. I pulled this one, it was very exciting. It's very, very sleek looking, I gotta say. One of the top 3 cards from the set. I think in the same opening, I also pulled the Secret Rare Pikachu, which maybe I'll grade in a different video. However, I want you to look at this card because it is in primo condition. Centering wise, looks perfect, which is fantastic to see on the front. But it does change on the back a little. It does change just a little more on this side compared to those two sides. So let's go ahead and give that a 9.5 for centering because I still think it is in great condition. Now let's take a look at the corners of the card. A little whitening right there. Maybe I'll be able to like just wipe that off. Sometimes it happens. You'd be surprised how many times you are able to. And then the rest of the corners, they look fine. That's great. So nothing else on the rest of the corners. And the edges look great too on this guy. Also, which, I mean, the thing is with this, you can see this whole card is shining. So there could be some sort of imperfection with the surface as far as factory lines. I don't see any, but upon closer glance, you never know. However, that being said, I think I would like to give this one for my prediction a BGS 9.5 for the Reshiram from black and white. Wanted to change things up a little bit, not just be old vintage, just a little bit older, which is actually like 10 years ago now, a full decade since this set came out, which is crazy to think. So Reshiram full art. Next up, Skyridge, my favorite set of all time. And yes, it's the Starmie that I pulled a few weeks ago from a Skyridge pack. And while a very not as bright card as you can see, so the holofoil in the background is doesn't pop as much as other cards, but it's still a beautifully, gorgeously printed, illustrated card. And you can also tell from Skyridge, the E-Series reader, the e-reader part that you would use with the Game Boy Advance is, makes the card differently. That being said, I would think the front-wise centering looks great. I would give this perfect centering. Absolutely perfect centering for this guy, which is a big plus. Next up, let's take a look at those pesky corners on this one. A little bit of whitening right there. Maybe I can get that off. Perfect on the whitening scale there, and perfect there. So overall, just absolute perfection when it comes to the corners. Maybe I'll be able to get the whitening off of the other corner as you saw. Sometimes it does. I don't think I see any factory lines or anything on this one. So, which is a massive plus. And then there we go. That is the Starmie Skyridge. I think I would give this one for my prediction a BGS 9.5. I don't think we're getting at 10s on anything. It's extremely difficult. So a Starmie from Skyridge, BGS 9.5. Beautiful, beautiful holographic card. Last but not least, it's here. The first edition Lugia. An incredibly difficult card to grade, no matter what grading service you use. Obviously, you probably saw me pull this beautiful, beautiful card. Absolutely amazing. I'm happy I finally pulled it. First edition, Neo Genesis, Lugia, and as I mentioned in the opening, there are factory lines, which is probably the biggest ding this card will get. You can see them right there. Kind of like, they're not as prominent, but they're still there. So that's going to knock the surface down. Hopefully not an 8.5, a 9. I know it's ridiculous because that's just how the card showed up when you pull it out of the sleeve. Otherwise, let me show you. Centering wise, I would give centering a 9.5. It's not absolute perfect centering, but it's still nice, at least enough, I think, to qualify for 9.5 centering. You could say more so in the back. There's more so the top to the bottom. So, you know, if you want to give that a 9, I would, it's fine. Completely not surprising. Corners wise, for Lugia is actually nothing. That is it's always like with Neo Genesis for my polls for these, it's always been one thing compensates for the other thing, and that would be the corners and edges being perfect. Hopefully those can be high enough, you know, 9.5s, that it brings up the rest of the card. But there we go. I'm gonna say for my prediction, I want to be confident, guys, but it's probably gonna be a 9. But let's just go ahead and be confident and optimistic. A first edition Lugia from Neo Genesis, my prediction is a BGS 9.5. So there we go. But it's time to go to Beckett.
2,000 years later.
And welcome back to the studio. Inside lies the grades for that first edition Lugia, the banned Pokemon card, the black and white Reshiram, and the Dragonite. And of course, there's a Skyridge hologram. There's a lot of good stuff inside that even a 0.5 can make the difference when it comes to grading cards. But before we get to the results, I have a special treat. It will be very quick, but you remember those 2 Magic the Gathering cards that the creator of Magic made when his 2 kids were born? Some of, if not the rarest Magic cards in the world. I got graded a while ago after that video, and the results are here of those 2 Magic cards and a few sports cards, the iconic Michael Jordan cards. I'm gonna reveal them very fast. The first one is this, the Splendid Genesis card for the firstborn child of Mr. Richard Garfield himself. Now, it did come back a 4, but look at the subgrades, as this was just in somebody's closet collection for decades. Centering was a beautiful 9, edges 6, corners even an 8.5. Those are decent scores, but it's the surface right here with a 3, and apparently you can't give it more than 1 point up to the lowest subgrade of a Beckett score, which is very unfortunate because you can see it's like just bent down here, and that's basically one of the, you know, the main reason why it got the 3 for the surface, so it gives it a 4. But that being said, the card's now protected, and it's still at this grade. It's still an insanely rare card, just like the Fraternal Exaltation one, with the subgrades of a 9.5, 8, 4 for the corners. So it's pretty bad for the corners and the surface, but it just got a 3.5, 0.5 below the Genesis card. And this one, you can tell the surface is just destroyed with whitening on the front at least. So little disappointed about that, but you know, I knew this one was going to be low, but it's mainly this one that I had wanted to, you know, be higher. But what can you do? It's still very special to see 2 of these in the same video like that. And then very quick, I have the first Michael Jordan card, a Star 85. This came back a 7.5 with those subgrades, so not too bad. We have the iconic Fleer Michael Jordan card, a 7.5, and those are the subgrades for that. By the way, if you are interested in purchasing any of the following Michael Jordan cards and sports cards, please, and any cards that are in this box, please email me. It is in the description below. We have a Larry Bird Celtics card. Those are the subgrades, so very, very nice subgrades for the Larry Bird Celtics card. A very rare Mickey Mantle card, but this is from Beckett Vintage Grading, which is cool because they have a different logo, but what I don't like is they don't have subgrades, which is weird and I don't know why. But I got a 6, that's not bad for an older card like that. And then the coup de grace, this guy, a near mint 8 Michael Jordan Star 85 card. The subgrades are phenomenal for this guy. So if you're interested in any of these guys, please email me, especially for this big one, big winner right there. So I'm excited about that. Enough is enough though. Let's get into, and I gotta make sure we do not see the back of the cards. All right, what do we got here for this one? The Reshiram. My prediction was a 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it got a 10, but I'll go with 9.5. And this is a 9.5. It even got a 10 on the edges. Look at that. 9.5s all around, and then a 10 at the edges for an overall Gem Mint 9.5. Does that look beautiful? Oh my goodness, does that look beautiful? So, you know, it's funny that the centering got a 9.5, but I'm kind of like sitting down here. Sorry, Archie, what are you doing? I got my puppy in here and he's kind of going crazy. So, I mean, the centering looks good. Not a perfect centering, so it's not surprising that the corners and everything got 9.5s. I will go deeper looking into the corner. So there's a little whitening right there. And that's perfect right there. So surface wise, honestly, you probably have to take like a black light or something like that to get a closer look. And I will have that for next time. Guess that grade. But otherwise, I'm gonna take it. I'll absolutely take it. Population report for how many of these are in the wild will have been on screen, as well as approximate cost in between Beckett's and PSA's grading for these cards, and approximately the level that these grades are coming in. So a very sleek looking Reshiram for the first card on Guess That Grade. Next up, we have, it's the Starmie. I'll just go like that. So it's the Starmie from Skyridge. I thought my prediction would be, or it is, a Beckett or BGS 9.5. And this is a Starmie holographic from Skyridge. And away we go. It is, I don't want to see those, a 9.5. Very nice. Look at those grades. A centering got a perfect 10. Corners, surface, edges, all got 9.5s on this Skyridge holographic Starmie card. That does look absolutely beautiful. Let's take a look at the corners. That looks good. And yeah, those are some perfect corners if I do say so myself. And of course, I didn't see any factory lines or anything, but you know, it's so close when it comes to getting a 10 for anything, and I can't believe it with the Reshiram and now the Skyridge Starmie. We have gotten phenomenal grades. I'm fairly certain that this would cross over to a PSA 10, especially with that centering being a flawless 10. So a Starmie Skyridge holographic. Like I said, I am very, very excited about these so far. Let's take a look at this one. This is the first edition Neo Destiny Light Dragonite card. I was wanting to be optimistic, but you know, we saw the corners, maybe the centering too, so I gave it a BGS 9 for my prediction. Let's see, it's a 9! Hey, as long as we got that metal Beckett label, I'm pretty happy. So a centering, edges, and surface, centering and edges got 9.5s each. Corners and surface, surface got an 8.5. Corners got a 9. I was expecting that. Surface though got an 8.5. Can we? There's got to be something going on with maybe factory lines or some sort of scratch somewhere. I'm not like all the stuff that you think you see is on the case itself. There's dust. I'm just trying to see where it could have gotten an 8.5. Because the corners, you know, the corners and the centering, I can understand that. Because there's a corner with some whitening right there. And that one's fine. Whitening down there, right there. So that's completely understandable. And centering is definitely off from left to right. Wait. I like how I say centering is definitely off from left to right, and it's got a 9.5 for centering. That's definitely not 9.5 centering there. But the surface got an 8.5. It doesn't matter though, even if the surface got a 9, it wouldn't have bumped up the score because we needed another 9.5 to bump that up to 9.5, but still a very, very strong light Dragonite from Neo Destiny for that. So I'll take it. And what do we got next? Just 2 more. So what do we got here? It's the Lugia! It's the Lugia! The first edition Neo Genesis Lugia that I pulled a few weeks ago. A lot on the line here because my prediction was an optimistic 9.5, but I was like, it's probably gonna be a 9. But that being said, max, you know, if it came back a strong 9.5, then we're talking about maybe, you know, it's not gonna be a PSA 10, I'll just say that, and those are going for an insane amount. But the 9.5s and 9s are still going for like between $5,000 to $10,000, depending. Going about the subgrades is what's important for that. So without further ado, let's see what Lugia got. A 9. I'll take it, but wow, look at that. Corners. The corners got a flawless 10. That's like impossible to get. So centering got an 8.5, edges got a 9.5, and surface got a 9. That's good for having the factory lines. We have some factory lines on the hollow part. You can see it right there on the Lugia. And that got a 9. I'll take it. I'll take that all day, every day. But the centering got an 8.5. Wait, so it's definitely worse centering on the back than the front. But let's see here. This centering of this Dragonite got a 9.5. And this centering of the Lugia got an 8.5. And let me do the math real quick. So if, well, I don't know. Maybe we could see if the centering came back at a 9 and corners are a 10, 9.5, and 9. I think that would get a 9.5. Because right now it's a 9, a 9.5. You get the gold label. That's a pretty big difference, like I said. And getting corners, let's take a look at the corners now. If you want to see flawless corners, I guess this is it. Nothing, 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 and nothing. That's on the case right there. That's insane. So flawless corners on this guy. And of course, surface for the factory lines. And the edge has got 9.5s. I'll take that. 9.5, I'll take that. And it's just the centering, which between you and me, based off what we just saw here, could potentially be bumped up to a 9. Wow. Still though, I'm fairly happy with it. Guys, we pulled this. And so I'm very happy about that. We pulled every single card you see here is from videos that we've done recently. So I'm very happy about that. All right. Well, I guess the last one is the banned Pokemon card, the Mistys Tears from Gym Heroes, the banned card. My prediction, I think, why am I remembering everyone except Misty's? I think Misty's I said a 9.5, but there was things wrong with it. So let's see. A 9. But look, another 10. So edges got a 10. Corners got a 9.5 and surface got a 9.5, but the centering got an 8.5. Guys, I disagree with the centering scores on several of these cards. Or at least, unless I'm just not seeing something. Look how, I think that looks great centering on the back. It may not be perfect, but at the very least, a 9. And then same with this one. And if it got a 9, it would have bumped it up to a 9.5. Wow. That's a potential regrade. Not that I care too much about it, because, like I said, if you are interested in these cards and purchasing them, let me know. I will sell them for less than market, because I want them to go to good homes. But there we go. The banned Pokemon card, Mistys Tears, got a 9. Overall, I'm very happy with the grades in this. I'm a little, about the centering is but for the most part, we pulled them and we got great grades. And most importantly, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. But if you want more, click on those videos right now. My name is Leonhart. Stay awesome, stay positive, and as always, I will see y'all in the next video.